Good morning.
Good morning, my friends. Today is indeed a good day. I can love you and be your friend, even if we think differently, believe differently, act differently, look different, or come from different places in life. You are welcome here. With that in mind, let's get our day started together. Let's slow down together each morning to contemplate valuable precepts and how we might apply these in our thoughts, words, and actions today, and how they might grow into practices, habits, and even ways of life, so that our life's example is rooted firmly in core values that are a benefit to ourselves and to all around us. What a wonderful Wednesday we have today. I am I am actually studying gentleness again this morning because I am not satisfied with my application of the precept yesterday. So I apologize if this will be doubling up on something that you already heard yesterday, but it will not just be a repeat. Yesterday we spoke about gentleness, talked through about how it is focusing on the problem, not the people. And sometimes I can be very direct and even harsh in business or even personally. So gentleness, I would say, is definitely a precept that that I need rooted down a little more firmly. Yesterday, I noticed that in several different circumstances, that I got frustrated or was just dealing with an issue and wasn't as mindful about my words and about how I was looking at things. So I need to look at gentleness again this morning. I apologize if that's not what you were expecting. So let's look at gentleness. Again, it's not about a cowering or a demure behavior. We can be confident. We can be direct. We don't need to fearfully tiptoe in order to avoid conflict. Conflict is not always bad. Conflict can be constructive. But we do need to be respectful. And I think I usually try my best to be respectful. And I probably am respectful by what I would call the letter of the law. I'm not using disrespectful language. I'm not attacking people. But sometimes my delivery can create an uncomfortableness in others that isn't necessary and is not necessarily productive. Gentleness does come from an inner strength. It isn't weakness. It is power under control. If we're confident, we can be gentle with our strengths. We don't have to put them on display or wield our power in order to prove our strength. If we're wielding any power or authority, we're trying to work towards resolving the problem. The issues that I ran into yesterday, I felt like I was focusing on the problem and what is necessary to resolve the problem. But sometimes my directness can be harsh, and I need to be mindful of that. We each need to be understanding not just of our intentions, but of how in doing is received. Again, we're not walking on eggshells, avoiding conflict, but there is a balance there. Gentleness is that power that remains humble, calm, and strong, even in the face of challenges. I have to admit that sometimes things test my calmness. Our words and our actions, they can either be an encouragement and a shelter or a raging fire that brings destruction. Now, this doesn't mean that we can't ever provide constructive criticism or we can't ever seek for accountability in things that have been promised or commitments or obligations. But gentleness is that guardrail that helps us keep from setting things ablaze. I said the other day that gentleness can keep us from clicking send on that email that would be better if we waited, gave it time, read back over it again. Sometimes pausing and being silent is necessary so that we're not just reacting. And at its core, and I think this is the part that I need to be continually mindful about, gentleness is about preferring healthy relationships rather than demonstrating strength or defending egos. Are we mindful of the relationships, whether that's marriage, whether that's parent-child, whether that's friends, neighbors, co-workers, vendors, business, even strangers on the street? Are we preferring to promote a healthy relationship? Gentleness. We can even be gentle with our enemies, right? I would say, hopefully, if my heart was right, I feel like I should not have enemies of flesh and blood out there. I may have people that consider me an enemy, but I do not want to pit myself against other people and see them as my enemy. Yes, I do have people that frustrate me at times, that fail to meet expectations or obligations, etc., and that cause challenges, but they are not necessarily my enemies, right? I don't have to pit myself against them. I can focus on the problem, not on the people. And that gets to what we talked about yesterday with what does gentleness look like in life? We need to remember that the problem is the problem. We don't, if we shift into you being the problem or me being the problem, then we've shifted away from what really needs to happen. When there's a problem, we need to work together to solve the problem. We were not going to win the war by pitting ourselves against others. As soon as we've pitted ourselves against someone else, the relationship is what is being lost, right? In that position, there is going to be a loss in the relationship. You're forcing them to lose or you to lose. But if we can focus on the problem and not pit ourselves against others, we can work together. Also, if someone tells us that we've hurt or offended them, we don't get to decide whether we think our words or actions were harsh or offensive. There is a hurt. That is the problem, that there is something unhealthy in the relationship. I need to be mindful of those things. Again, not walking on eggshells, not enabling bad behavior and letting people get away with things, but I do need to be gentle and focused on the healthy relationship and working to solve the problem. I needed that reminder today, and I'm willing to slow down when I see that I've fallen short and take an extra look at the precept. I think that's a good good thing. Even though I had a schedule, I had a plan to go through to the next precept this morning, I saw that there was probably value in me looking at this one again. I think that's a good lesson in life, to be willing to self-examine, not just run through these as a practice, as something on display, but to seek to be sure that the seed is planted. So that's my focus again today. Today we will chew on gentleness for an extra day. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. I love you, and thank you for getting together with me. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, concerns, or any advice. Obviously, this one I feel like I've been a little challenged in. You might have some wise advice that would be helpful to me. I appreciate it. Take care.
Good morning.